Hi, today I want to read a new article of Savills, and let's talk about the aging population, housing care, and okay, let's move on. In the past one of our aging population series, we look at global opinions on aging and care and the real estate solution that countries around the world are using to house their older citizens. Although Vietnam has an aging population, its housing solutions for the elderly are practically non-existent. We ask, should popular housing with care solution be applied in Vietnam? According to United Nations, people over 65 will present 1 in 6 or 1.5 billion people by 2050. Many cities around the world are rapidly become super age where over 65 account for more than 20% of the population. Several global research suggest that many cities, mostly in Germany, Italy, and France, sorry, are already super age. Joining them soon will be citizens in Russia, Spain, Poland, and USA. Locally, the trend is no different. The UN predicts that Vietnam population will be super aged by 2050. Demand for housing with care, a range of residential residential format will often provide care services for older people in is increasing, but the markets remain largely underdeveloped. In Vietnam, these markets remain almost untouched. Out of 63 provinces, only 32 have specialized facilities for the elderly. Although the government aims to have at least one facility in each province by 2025, this does not reflect the rapid growth of Vietnam's aging population. Culture and aging is place. In many Asian countries, there is a more traditional attachment to the family home. Intergenerational care, government policies encourage aging in place, and children are expected to care for their parents in their old age. In China, is the law, and Taiwan cut off the in inheritance of neglectful children. Oh, sorry. What does it mean, the neglectful?
Neglectful.
Neglectful. Of neglectful children. Singapore supports aging in place by offering bonus and promotes multiple generation living, changing culture. Since the implementary uh, implementation, implement, in, implementation, implementation
Implementation. Implementation.
implementation of Vietnam since the implementation of Vietnam đổi mới policies, the country has seen enormous social economic growth and vast improvement to public services, quality of life, and life expectancy. expectancy. This growth has changed how people live and have resources in the modernization, urbanization, and increased level of rural-urban migration. These changes have influenced the living arrangement of elderly. According to Vietnam General Statistics Office, the number of elderly people living alone or with their spouse, their spouse, increased from spoof, spouse,
Spouse.
spouse, spouse, their spouse increased from the 18.3% in 209 to 27.8% in 2019. Some residents in one of Vietnam's few nursing homes said that their children are too busy working to spend time with them. Others said that they was lonely when they leave at their family home as their children has moved to different provinces to work. While traditional family care is still prevalent, the ideas of aging in place might not be as steadfast as it has been historically. Five global model for housing with care. New Zealand, with nearly 771,000 over 65s, is a housing with care market leader. It has regulation that introduce transparency to the complexity of charges and management fee. Service charge and management fee. Australia and New Zealand are responding to demand and are moving from traditional now density retirement village to increasing urban and high density housing. In the next decades, the number of over 65 in New Zealand will increase by almost 40%, says Mr. William Wallace, General Manager, Savills, New Zealand, as one of the most mature leather living markets globally. We expect to see innovation in the range of housing formats on offer to residents. The USA has over 33 million over 65 who have a 53 super HDD by 2035. Its mutual market has an array to 10 news and type of often integrates the various offering on one campus. These communities provide many care options from independent living skilled nursing. The USA was an early adopter of cross-generational living with its university-based retirement communities such as Nassau Vintage in Massachusetts by putting housing and university campuses. Residents have access to the university amenity classes and its hospital. Rental model French France is adapting a rental model for its older generation. It is the same concept as student housing but with a more communal space and services. The focus is on the urban living with many schemes close to transport and shop. Another example is a maintenance shop in the Netherlands, a city block with 200 days care and nursing bed, shelters, housing, and kindergarten. Japan new template for late living. Japan has one of the world's oldest population. In trend, in 2000, the country placed its depend on family support and implement mandatory long-term care insurance. Cargo Hawkins thus has led a healthy market with multiple healthcare and residential and private equity players who have investor scheme. Family tie in agent. The agent solution for elderly care largely rely on family support. Chinese expect like 90% of elderly care to provide in the home. However, with 71 cities expected to superate by 2035, the might not be sustainable, be not sustainable.
Sustainable.
Sustainable. Sustainable. Mr. John Z. McDonald, Savills has of researchers in China, said while opportunities for international providers are likely to be plentiful in China, there have been first that in the past investors need to engage with the right local partner, understand the regulatory environment, and through those rules study the markets. Globally, there is a deep and growing demand for housing with cash solution in many markets, a demand that is going unmet due to limited supply. For Vietnam, the outlook for housing risk care markets is not clear, with a complex culture, regulatory, and operational factors at play. Some housing with care solutions that are popular international might not be practical in Vietnamese markets, while there is few housing solutions for older generation. Like many Asian countries, families continue to provide the birth of care. Birth care. Birth.
Bulk.
Birth.
Bulk. Bulk. Bulk.
Birth care. Choi Griff, Deputy Managing Director, Savills Vietnam S. In Vietnam, there are many multiple level at work behind the age care equation. Not least the spreading acceptance of insurance that allow alternate funding model from an operation is a perspective. It is presently difficult to resource with quality medically trained staff. Certainly, the traditional family model is rapidly evolving. The next decade will see a lot of changes. Hybrid office are emerging as an effective and cost-effective working model for businesses across the country. But what are hybrid offices and how do they differ from the flexible offices? This article unpacks the difference and the future of hybrid offices in the Vietnamese markets. What is the hybrid working model? Hybrid is a blanket term that describes a working model where people can split their time between home and the office. By design, this style promotes flexibility and agility and allows workers to get the best of in-person and remote work. Hybrid work is a flexible policy that empower people to choose where and when they work. This typically is a combination of working from home and the office. Employees may have set schedule where they work at home 3 days a week and in the office 2 days, or may choose to work from home or the office full time. This means teamwork, team who used to gather in the office now work as habit team. They connect using technology rather than a shared physical space. At the relatively new and evolving concept, it's important to understand what is meant by flexible and hybrid working. Flexible working is the when. This is predominantly based on working hour and how the traditional 9 to 5 can be adapted to create a better work life balance. Hybrid working is the way that speak to the combination of remote and office-based work. Mr. Du Thị Hồng An, Director of Commercial Leasing, said, "Work from anywhere is the new mantra for work in the post-pandemic era." As the employers and their team consider how best to return the office, habits and flexible arrangements are attractive, commute are reduced, skills are more flexible, and companies realize they could also make long-term savings. Flexible office space includes service, managed and shared office, and co-working space. Meanwhile, a hybrid office is in an arrangement with which company managers and employees sometimes work together in the physical office and sometimes remotely. The idea, the idea is provide the best of both worlds for worker and employers. Often, often with flexible office solution, many companies share the same floor space and utility. As sharp tenants save on cost while using the space and the facility comfortably without restriction. However, such shared offices are limited in terms of business that can use them. They are most used by startups and small companies with a minimal and flexible number of employees, such as IT or project-based companies. However, share model cannot apply a large company corporation with long-standing company culture. Companies must evaluate their hybrid solution carefully, as if a company is too big, flexible office would not be appropriate appropriate as the would be too expensive. The hybrid office model comes with change in the office design, the schedule, and habits. Employees will have the choice and either remote or in the office working. The companies want to ensure they can maintain their services, workflow, and management methods. Usually, style of business will determine the kind of hybrid model that a company could apply. For instance, company can apply an online or offline working ratio, ratio, uh, ratio.
ratio, ratio,
Shock as 50-50 or 70-30, or they can simply follow the schedule that meet their need. Comment, Commenting on the demand for hybrid model in Vietnam, Ms. An says people are still a little hesitant. However, during the recent lockdown, many companies has to adapt and change how they operate. One of one a company is due to hybrid way of working. Long-term change will be easier. Hybrid office ensure business continuity while giving workers peace of mind and a healthier work-life balance. If business move to an hybrid workplace, they can experience a new environment, and it gives them the opportunity to explore alternative way of working. When speak about the transition to hybrid work and the future of this kind of model, says when implementing hybrid solution, business need to consider their technology infrastructure. This includes administrative management and supporting equipment for remote working, which must be standardized to ensure an efficient hybrid model. In short, the transition to a hybrid office is a natural change and will undoubtedly take place. The model can be applied in many industry and different size company as long as it maintains company core value. Importantly, hybrid solutions are unique, and what works for one company will not necessarily work for another. Are you interested in implementing hybrid work solution in your company, in your business? Contact our commercial leasing term hotline 0902882968, using SMCM outcome service server.com.vn. Thanks.